Welcome friends to another FlutterFlow tutorial on how to make a simple notes app in FlutterFlow using a Supabase database. Thank you to Albert Kona for suggesting this video, and in his comment he suggested that we can add an additional functionality to select multiple notes to delete at a time, and even a select all button which lets us select all the notes to delete. So I think that's a really cool functionality that we should implement in our Simple Notes app. So over here, I have my Simple Notes app, the new and revamped Simple Notes app. If I press and hold on my list view over here, you can see that now we have the option to select notes over here. So I can manually select the notes by clicking the check boxes over here, and I can deselect them. Or I can also go over here to select all the notes. And when I select all the notes, you can see that all the notes are ticked over here. I can also deselect the notes, and now they are all unselected. If I press cancel, nothing happens. I can long press again. Let's say I don't want this first note, this one note anymore. So I can click on confirm, and now you can see that it's deleted. Let's try the select all function. If I select all and I press confirm, now you can see that all the notes are deleted. So that's the basic gist of the function that we're trying to implement in our FlutterFlow app today, and now let's get straight into it. Alright, so this was where we left off in our previous episode, and now we can just add the select all, confirm and cancel buttons in our column. So in our column over here, we want to add a row because all of them are in the same row. And we want to shift this row just below the text over here. Let's just add some top padding in the row. Let's say 36. And let's remove the list view padding over here. And inside the row, we want to add 3 different text. So let's just add 3 text widgets really quick. And since I want all of this text to be aligned to the right over here, I can go down, and under main axis alignment, I'll just click on end. So now they're all clustered to the end. And let's just add some right padding of 16 or 24. And let's just also add some item spacing of 12. So for this first text over here, this text will be either the select all text or the deselect all text. So for now, let's just name it as select all first. We will add the function to change it to either select all or deselect all later. For the second text, this text will be the confirm text. And for the final text over here, this will be the cancel text. And let's just make this cancel text red so that it will have some difference in how it appears. Alright, so to toggle between a select all and deselect all text over here, we can right click on this text and we can wrap this text widget in something called a conditional builder. So what this conditional builder does is that it can check for a condition, any condition that we put in, and if the condition is true, it will display any widget over here. And if the condition is false, then it will display any widget under here. So for the else part of this conditional builder here, we can click on this eye icon so that the eye is now lit up, and now we can add a widget over here. We can add a text widget. And this text widget will be the deselect all text. And for our condition, we want to create a page state widget to store whether we have selected all of the notes or not. So we must go back to our home page, and we have to go to state management, and we can add a local page state variable. We can name this state variable select all. And this variable will be of type boolean. The initial field will be false. So we can click on confirm to confirm our page state variable. Now we can go back to our conditional builder over here and we click on conditional builder. And when we scroll down on the right side under conditional builder properties, we want to set the condition. So we want to set the condition if, and we want to go page state variable. If select all is equal to true, then we want to show our deselect all text. But currently under the if is the select all text, not the deselect all text. So what we can do is that we can go back to our conditional builder and we can click on this select all condition and we can apply the opposite statement. That means if we have not selected all the nodes, then it will show the select all text. Else, if we have selected all the nodes, then it will show the deselect all text, as you can see over here. So that is basically how the conditional builder works. Now we can add the check button in our list tiles over here. So we can also apply the same thing to our delete icon over here. We can wrap this icon in a conditional builder as well. So with the delete icon selected, we can right click on it and we can wrap the widget inside a conditional builder. And under the else condition, we want to add an icon. And this icon will be a checkbox. Let's just use this one for now. So for this condition, we want to add another page state variable under our home page. Multi-delete. And the type will also be of type boolean, and the initial field variable will also be of type false. And the initial field value will also be false. And now we can go back to our conditional builder over here and we can set the condition. If multi-delete is equal to true, then we want to show our checkbox icon. But since this is switched now, we can do the same thing. If it's not multi-delete, then we are showing our delete icon over here. But if we are in the multi-delete mode, then we will show this checkbox icon over here. And the way we go into multi-delete mode is under the list view. We will create a new action, and when we long press the list view, we want to set the state, and we want to set our multi-delete boolean to be true. So this means that whenever we long press on our list view, we will be going into our multi-delete mode. And inside our multi-delete mode, we will show the checkbox icon instead of the delete icon. And the same thing goes for this row, is that we only want to see this row when the multi-delete mode is active. So with the row selected, we can go under conditional over here, and we can toggle this to be true. And we can set a condition for whenever we want this row to be seen. So our condition once again is our page state, and if multi-delete is true, only if multi-delete is true, then we want to see this row. And to cancel the multi-delete mode, we go to our cancel text and we open the action flow editor. And whenever we tap on this cancel text, we want to set the state and update our page state to update our multi-delete to be false. So this cancel text over here will get rid of our multi-delete mode. Now let's allow the user to interact with this checkbox. So with the checkbox selected, we also want to right click on this icon, checkbox icon. We want to wrap the widget once again in the conditional builder. And under the else statement, we want to add another widget, and we want to add an icon as well. And this icon, we'll search for checkbox, but this time we don't want it to be the filled checkbox. Instead, we want it to be the empty outline of the checkbox. So to be able to get this condition over here, we have to introduce yet another local page state variable. So we will go to our home page and we'll add one last page state variable. And this will be a list of the delete items that we want to be deleted. And this list will be a list of integers because this will be the note ID. So we want to check this list to be true, and we will just confirm. So the idea here is that whenever we check each of this note, we will be adding the note ID into our delete item list over here. And when we click on the confirm button, we will delete all the notes that have their note ID present in our delete items list over here. So now what we can do is that we can go back to the conditional builder of our checkbox over here, and we will set it if our page state variable of delete items, if the list contains our notes row note ID. So that means if we have added the notes that we want to delete into our delete items, then the checkbox will be shown to be checked. If we don't intend to delete the note, then the checkbox will be empty as such. One more thing, just a UI decision, we can go to our checkbox icon and we can make the icon red so that we know that we want to delete it. So first, let's deal with the already checked checkbox icon. So if it's already checked, we can add an action, and this is to uncheck the note from being deleted. So we can update the page state variable, and we want to update our delete items. So by tapping on the already checked icon, we want to remove from our list, and the value that we want to remove is our notes row, the note ID. And we can copy and paste this action into our unchecked icon. So with the unchecked icon selected, we can open the action flow editor and we can paste the action. But now, instead of removing from the list of delete items, we want to add to the list. And the value to add is once again the notes row and the note ID. So we can close this now. Okay, so now let's deal with the select all option. So we want to add an action for the select all. And for this select all mode, it will be a bit tricky, but I'll try my best to explain it to you. So we will first add an action, and for the select all, the first action that we want to add is a query. And we want to add this Supabase query rows action over here. We want to query our notes table. We don't need any filters, but we want an action output variable to be, let's just say, results. And after we query, we want to set the page state variable, update our page state variable. We want to update our delete items list. And for this, we want to set a value for our list. And the value to set is our action output is the results from our Supabase query. And this will be a map of our list items, and we only want to take the ID from our list over here. So basically, what this does over here is that it takes our backend query result, which is all the rows in our Supabase, which is basically all the rows in our Supabase table of notes table over here, and it only takes the ID components. So basically it only takes 25, 26, and 28 over here, and this list of ID will be set to our delete items page state variable over here. In other words, when we press on select all of the IDs in our currently present in our table will be set into our delete items page state variable over here. And one more thing that we have to do is that we also have to update our page state for our select all boolean, and we will set this value to be true since we have just pressed on the select all. So we can close this, and now we can deal with the deselect all. And for this deselect all button is slightly simpler. We can add an action, and for this we will just search for update page state once again, and we can change delete items. And for this, instead of set value, we'll just reset the value back to a null value, so it's an empty list since we are deselecting all of our items, and this just built it into an empty list. We can add one final action, which is to update the page state, and we want to update our select all boolean, set the value to be false. And that's it for our select all and deselect all button. Finally, we can come to our confirm button over here. So you can open the action flow editor once again, and now we want to search for Supabase, and we want to choose this delete row action. For the table, it'll be our notes table, and for matching rows, we want to only delete the rows where the ID is inside our page state delete items. So it'll delete all the rows where the ID is inside our delete items list. And we also cannot forget to refresh our database request so that the UI in our home page is also updated. For the widget, we'll choose the list view. And one final action is to update our page state, and we want to update the multi-delete mode. We want to set this to false. So that should be it for the multi-delete functionality, and now we can test it in our test mode. Alright, so test mode has just loaded up, and I have 3 notes already made over here. We can long press to check, and we can see that when we long press, the check boxes appear instead of the delete icon now, and also these options appear over here as well. So we can try deleting one note first. Let's just delete this 3. We can click on confirm, and we can see the third note has indeed been deleted. We can long press again, and now let's try doing the select all action. Yep, and when we select all, this select all text has been replaced with the deselect all, and these 2 notes have been checked as well. If we deselect all, and now these 2 have been unchecked, so that function is working perfectly. If we cancel, you can see that they are still here. If we select all and now we confirm, now the notes are gone completely. All the notes are gone. If we go back to our Supabase table, we can see that the notes have been deleted here as well. Once again, thank you Albert Kona for suggesting this video and suggesting this awesome functionality to add in our FlutterFlow apps. I hope that you have been able to follow along and that you all have learned something new with our conditional builders, as well as how we can use page state variables to our advantage in our apps. If you are interested in FlutterFlow and mobile app development, please feel free to check out my other videos such as this playlist over here or this video over here. I hope to see you around in future videos. Thank you and goodbye.